Unlock the power of AI to transform your networking game to make a pivot in your career, seize new opportunities, and become a candidate that people want to engage with. Hi, everyone. If you're over 40 and thinking about transitioning into a new career, or you're just starting out and trying to find your first one, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to share 3 powerful approaches to help you connect confidently on LinkedIn and prepare a meaningful networking conversation, all using 2 smart AI tools, ChatGPT and NotebookLM. Whether you're just starting your job search or you're actively networking currently, these tips will give you an edge by making your outreach more personal, relevant, and impactful. The first approach is all about research and personalization, which are absolutely key when reaching out to people online. NotebookLM is a great AI-powered notebook tool where you can gather everything you need to learn about a person, their company, their industry, and using articles from the news, from their LinkedIn bios, or even your own notes that you've gathered yourself. Instead of having fragmented information everywhere, NotebookLM helps you keep it organized and able to analyze it quickly. So now we're going to follow along with some real-world examples that I'm going to demonstrate on the big screen here. You'll see my head go down to a small screen over here. And I'm going to show you these prompts real time, what it looks like, and what my approach would be. And I'll use some examples of some job postings, and I'll probably just use my resume or a sample resume or a LinkedIn bio to show you what this actually means. The video and my presentation gives you a good insight as to the why, but a lot of this is very hands-on, and you got to see it happen to really have it set in. So let's get into it. Okay, now let's begin with how you start with NotebookLM and ChatGPT. As I said in my previous video, these are both free services that you can access online. NotebookLM.google.com is the address that you're seeing right now for NotebookLM, and then ChatGPT is chatgpt.com. Again, both free services. There are certainly paid versions of these, but for the purposes today, as I will show you, these will probably do everything that you need. So starting with NotebookLM, as you can see, you can create multiple notebooks, by the way. So this is just, it's not like a one-time shot where you're just kind of iteration after iteration. You can have very, very select notebooks for very, very specific purposes. I've actually created one earlier, and we're going to walk through that right now. So I've saved a recent notebook down here. If you were to create a new netbook or if you were to create a new notebook, it's simply create a new notebook down here. And then the first thing it's going to ask you to do is upload some sources. And this is where you can upload Word documents, you can upload links to videos, you can upload links to YouTube videos, you can upload links or website URLs. As we're going to talk about today, you can download the PDFs of LinkedIn profiles. You can enter in the URL for the LinkedIn profile. Almost any source can go up to NotebookLM, which makes it incredibly powerful. So I've already gone ahead and uploaded some documents. I'll show you what that looks like. Normally when you upload sources, they would appear over to the side. The questions you would ask would be under the chat section. And as you're saving some of your outputs, you put those over in Studio. Chat section, it goes away after you close down a notebook. Your sources and the output from your chat stays in the Studio and the sources, but the chat does go away. So that's just something to remember. So as you're getting really good answers that you're happy with, there's a way to save your sources, which we're going to get into in a second. So let's go back into one of the ones I had going already, which was my networking with profiles, which is the point of today's video. So as you see, I've downloaded the PDFs of my profile on LinkedIn, as well as the profile of a fictitious individual I have on LinkedIn, a gentleman by the name of Phil O'Dendron. He's in green initiatives and sustainability, for those of you that like a pun. So right off the bat, just by uploading those as sources, and you can add the sources from that initial screen that I showed you, or if you bring up sources, you can click on add, and this will just ask you to upload or drag or enter in whatever you like. just by entering in Phil's profile off LinkedIn that I downloaded and my profile, it right off the bat gives a bit of a summary, which is fantastic. So one of the things that I can do now with networking is start adding in some prompts. There is no perfect prompt, but it's go in iterations. Top of your bean, just throw it in and see what it pops up with. And when I do that, it doesn't take too long, a couple seconds here. And you're going to get an output that we'll be able to ask some more questions on, or if we really like it, we can save it to the studio on the right-hand side. Okay, so right off the bat, it gives a bit of a summary based on what it's reading in my profile, as well as what it's reading in, so my profile's first here. Then it's going through all the details of Phil's. It compares it to what we have in common. So again, this is going to, create some insights and some ideas as to what you may want to ask Phil about, or I might ask Phil about. What we have in common. Questions I could possibly ask if I wanted to ask a question on sustainability. Phil, you've been with Soil.com and an ESG startup focused on sustainability and green initiatives for over 15 years. What initially drew you to the sustainability sector, and how do you feel the specific focus has influenced your growth as a project manager and leader, contributing to your long-term success in this role? That's a mouthful. That's a longer question. You might want to break that down into a couple. Again, these aren't going to be one and done. You're not going to ask it one thing and get a perfect answer, but it's going to start you down a path that you thought that you're going to say to yourself, okay, I like that theme. I would probably maybe phrase it this way. I might not use that word. I'd use this word instead. In fact, we'll get to that in a second, but it talks a bit about other things on leadership, innovation, contributions in a startup. So then I like the information, but it's a bit long-winded and it might be a bit arduous for me to remember or to work with. Make all questions shorter and concise. More concise. And let's see what it says now. Hopefully it made it a bit less verbose. Here we go. What are the biggest leadership challenges during your ERP implementation? How do you overcome them to get such a strong efficiency increase? Fabulous. Okay, so this is where it does its magic. So now you're getting some really good information here. Again, the long-winded version and the shorter-winded version based on these two profiles. You can also upload the website of the company that the individual you're going to be talking to works for. You can upload your resume and have it compare your resume to Phil's or to the client that you're talking to, the individual you're reaching out to their profile, and find out what you have in common. You can have multiple sources here. I've done searches where I've had 15 sources when I was helping somebody do networking for a job in overseas. That was going to require a lot of in-depth research that it helped me find. But going back to what I said before about sources and saving them, again, when we move on and we shut this down, this chat section is going to go away. So if we like this first part, I did like the summary that it was giving, I can then come to the bottom, save to note. And now you'll see it save over here. So now when we come back, that's going to be there. That's just a verbatim copy of that. I really like the shorter version as well too. Let's save that to note as well. So now you've got some options. Now these notes are basically text files that you can also ask questions about. You can copy and paste those in the ChatGPT, which we'll get into a second, to do a bit of a deeper dive or more creative writing analysis of what you may want to say or how you want to frame your questions. But this is a high-level look at where NotebookLM shines with its different ways of comparing and contrasting and finding opportunities within two documents. And now I'm going to show you how to get these from LinkedIn if you don't know already. Okay, so a bit on the tangent. I've shown you that you can upload LinkedIn profiles, which you download as PDFs. But how do you do that? Very straightforward. If you just go to my imaginary friend here, Philodendron, his LinkedIn profile, the simple way of doing this is if you go to the person's profile, you click on the More section, you click on Save to PDF, and I now have a copy of Phil's PDF that I can save in my downloads or on my desktop and drag it in the NotebookLM. It is that simple. And the way to get your own, it's about the same process. You'll just be going to, you won't have a More section, you'll have a Resources section. If you click on Resources under your own, you'll have the option to save as a PDF as well too. So that's where you get your PDFs of LinkedIn profiles. Next up, crafting your LinkedIn outreach message. Sending a connection request or a message that sounds like every other template on LinkedIn will not get you far. You want to be warm, authentic, and clear about why you're reaching out. This is where ChatGPT comes in. It's a powerful AI tool that can help you draft messages that highlight what you admire about the person, what you're interested in talking about, reference something recently that they did, and briefly share who you are and what you're all about and what drives you, all without sounding robotic. For example, if you're reaching out to a hiring manager or a potential mentor, NotebookLM can summarize their background that you provide or identify topics of mutual interest based on your notes and your bio that you're going to upload. This will save you time and help you craft a message that genuinely speaks to them and makes you much more engaging. Okay, now let's talk about how ChatGPT can help you, instead of comparing and contrasting and breaking down two documents or multiple documents, it's more of a conversation. It's sort of building on some initial information and then and diving deeper into it and fine-tuning it for your messaging, as opposed to NotebookLM, which gives you more reports, one would say. So in ChatGPT, again, this does save past chats. Unlike NotebookLM, there is no sources, there is no notes section. Everything stays in this sort of stream of consciousness of the chat. So I'm going to open up the one I was working on earlier, the just career coaching questions. So what I did is I'll just jump to the top here. So I dragged in Phil's profile from LinkedIn. And then I gave it the initial prompt of, as an experienced career coach specializing in helping candidates with 10 years of work experience in consulting create 5 questions that I could ask this individual to learn more about their industry and what they feel has helped them achieve success. And in a couple seconds, very, very succinctly, it comes up with 5 questions that sort of break it down into looking back at your what patterns or lessons have you learned based on your experience that helped you deliver results regardless of the situation. It talks about spearheading initiatives. It talks about how you've had to evolve and adapt your style over time. Tell me about collaboration and cross-functional teams. Again, this is the suggestions it's going to give. If these aren't resonating with you, then you can keep asking more questions. Say, tell me more about this. If the role you're applying for is all about teams, start hammering it with team questions and tell me more about that and other ways I could phrase that. And it's going to eventually give you some responses that are working for you. Again, ChatGPT and NotebookLM, you treat them like colleagues, not like tools. If it's not helping you, you can give it some feedback. If you're blatantly not happy with it, you give it a thumbs down or a thumbs up. And then let it run through some iterations. It's going to take some time, but like anything else, you'll find your groove. You will find your voice. You'll find what words and phrasing works. The ones I'm typing in now, I've just been playing with it for, almost a year now, and it's been amazing with how you can progress and evolve with these things. So it's given me some questions about, what talking about his journey and what has driven his success. So then I wanted to build on that. Okay, well, now create 5 questions to ask specifically about, if I want to prepare for interview questions at firms like the ones he's worked at before and get some interview prep, interview is going to be a video I'll be doing after this one. We'll get into more details on it, but here's a high level of that. Questions I could sort of ask him around, as I prepare for my interview questions. What stood out to you for how they evaluate new hires? What do you feel are the qualities that they're looking for new hires? So again, the questions is coming up with the theme that I've talked about in my previous videos. This isn't what should I do? When you're networking with somebody, it's not about you, it's about them. Yes, you want to get answers to questions that will help you, but if you ask, what should I do? That's a sticking point for them. They don't know you. They don't know what you should do. And that could put them in an awkward position where they don't know how to answer your question. They want to help you, but they don't know how to. Don't ask them for an answer. Ask them for their story. Ask them for, what would you do differently if you could go back in time? What surprised you the most? What best prepared you for your interview at that company? What was the thing you weren't expecting at all that came out of left field when you were doing that interview? These are going to be wonderful stories that they're going to have top of their mind because they experienced them. They will inform maybe your direction, how you approach things. They will tell you what to do without you asking what I should do. So a lot of the questions that you're seeing here are going to be framed in that way. And that's the best way to approach networking. So I typed in another prompt to help coach it. What question should I prepare for when being interviewed by these firms? Put your own information in. Talk about I. What should I do? Because now you're asking it. You're not asking Phil. You're asking ChatGPT. What should I do based on the information you've seen so far? Okay. Behavioral fit questions. These are the kinds of questions, yes. And as someone who's interviewed and prepped people for interviews hundreds, if not thousands of times, these are excellent questions to be ready for. Some of these will be pretty obvious, but the best part of doing this type of practice is ChatGPT and AI in general is going to throw some questions out at you that you probably hadn't thought of that you should be ready for. And it even talks a bit about how to use the STAR method. In my previous videos, I talked about the CARE message process of context, action, results, and evaluation. STAR method is situation, task, action, result. At the end of the day, when you're giving interview questions, again, a bit of a tangent here, but it's important. You're setting up the story, talking about the environment, whether that's the situation and the task, or you're just giving them the context. About 30 seconds on that. Another 30 seconds on the action you took in that environment, in that situation that you're in, and why you took that action. What did you see, hear, think, feel that made you do that? What was the result of your actions? Both formats and both frameworks have that same R as the third letter. What happened? What was the punchline? And what I like about the CARE model is that it doesn't just end with the results. What did you learn from that? What did you take away from it? What would you do differently next time? That's the part that they might actually be hiring you for, the critical thinking aspect of your answer. So it's lovely that it puts that at the end of the behavioral fits and how to structure them. It also provides some case, depending if it is consulting, that's going to be some case. We're finding a lot of companies are using case interview scenarios, whether it's marketing or consulting. A lot of them are doing even for technical roles as well too. This can come up. So it's sort of a putting you in, what does a Monday look like and what would a problem look like? There's no exact answer to case, by the way. It's really about, do you freeze? Do you have an approach top of mind? How do you respond to that? You're not going to answer the question in 2 minutes to get a perfect answer, but in 2 minutes they're going to know if you know what you're talking about. Do you know how to approach a problem? Do you know how to break it down into logical steps, and how would you slice this thing up? That's the point of case interview. So these are the kinds of questions they might ask, structured on that, based on the firms and the information, which was all made up, by the way, for Philodendron's profile. So with very little and completely inaccurate information, it's already producing some quality. So imagine what this does if you actually give it a fulsome profile from someone that you're looking to network with off of LinkedIn. Another wonderful piece of ChatGPT, again, as you saw before, it gets a sort of a feel for, not that it feels, but it has an idea, or has an opinion rather, of the kind of questions you're asking, where you might want to go next. Many people ask these questions a lot over its several years and decades that it's now amassing. So it's heard it all before. So it can guide you based on what it's gotten from other user inputs. It can provide pro tips, They might ask you the following types of questions. You haven't asked for information on these types of questions, but you might want to consider these things. This is where it comes out of left field, and it can be very surprising and give you those aha moments. And again, it's always going to want to do more for you. Would you like me to build a list of the top 10 high probability questions across behavioral case and industry questions with sample structures for answering each? So you have a ready to practice interview prep kit? Sure, why would you do that? And again, the prompt could simply be yes. And let's just see what it does now. Well, that was pretty quick. Again, these aren't 100% going to get you there, but this is going to be amazing prep. If you're comfortable with the types of questions that ChatGPT is going to come up with, you're going to be ready for probably 80 to 85% of the questions they can ask you at a behavioral type interview. Again, previous video, I'd recommend going back. They're going to walk through the standard IMPACT acronym questions and responding to it in the CARE framework. So if you haven't watched my video on network structure, I suggest you, after this video, jump back and have a look at it, because looking at that and then matching that with the way to leverage ChatGPT and NotebookLM to help you build out your impact questions or questions response. To build out, watch that video and understand that framework, so then you know what you're going to be needing to fill out and prepare for your impact questions, and then how to leverage ChatGPT and NotebookLM to create that content that you were going to that you were going to vet and make it more you. At the end of the day, you still want to have your voice. Whether you're doing interview prep or writing a resume or using this to create an essay or an email, AI will get you 80% of the way there, but you have to convert it into your own voice. Yes, if you don't like the response, one of the prompts could be, make this sound more human. You can also upload samples of your own writing. If you've written a multi-page report or letter that is your true writing style, you can upload that and just refer to that as the writing style. Write a response to this letter, craft a network question based on the writing style from document X. That's another great use, going back to NotebookLM as well. So that's the highlight of how to use NotebookLM to compare and combine and contrast and put some thought around how one document can support another, and then how you can leverage them both, instead of you trying to see the similarities yourself and build a view. Nothing wrong with that, of course. We've been doing that humans have done that for hundreds of years. But we all have biases, and NotebookLM and ChatGPT that's the one thing, because they are AI, because they are simple robots, very powerful, but still simple. They're going to look at things in ones and zeros and black and white. So it's going to see what's in there. You're going to see what you maybe want to see in a profile and focus on things that you feel are important. But when an AI is looking at this, it might see something a bit more standardized. So take that opinion. When you are applying for roles, as I talked about before, a lot of times your resume is going to be read by an applicant tracking system, an AI bot. So therefore, it isn't going through a human set of eyes first. So writing something in the vernacular of a machine can sometimes get you through that first step. It sounds daunting and strange and kind of off-putting at times, but you've got resources now to help you get there. So leverage those. But at the end of the day, it's got to be your voice. The whole point of doing all this is to get an interview, to get in the room so you can shine. And when you're in that room, there is no AI. It's just you. So you better make sure you have represented yourself properly before you get to that hot seat. Other prompts could be write a friendly connection request referencing this certain individual's recent work on a project. You can ask it to create a follow-up message proposing a virtual coffee chat based on the initial email that you sent them. You can highlight transferable skills and invite industry insights from them based on your background and where you're looking to pivot into. A whole host of things that you can ask questions on. There's no one perfect prompt, but it's up to you to find out what truly interests you and what's going to drive you and what you really want to find out from this individual. And then ChatGPT will get you over the hurdle of crafting a message that sounds professional and is engaging and is concise. So it's going to be your partner in all this. It's a colleague. I keep talking about it and other people talk about AI as a tool. It's not. It's a colleague that you work with, you train, you give feedback to, and with that coaching you're providing it, it will get stronger each time and provide you with even better information on each iteration. The magic here is balancing professionalism with personality, something especially important when trying to make networking connections later on in your career. Finally, let's talk about preparing for the actual conversation. Once your contact accepts your invite, and they will, you'll want to be ready. Not just to talk about yourself, but to have a meaningful dialogue that builds rapport, focusing on a lot of their stories and their experiences. It's not all about you. This is where combining NotebookLM and ChatGPT can be a game changer. You can use NotebookLM to pull insights about the company or recent trends, and then ask ChatGPT to craft thoughtful questions based around that information. Questions that will show your curiosity and your respect and the fact that you've done your research. You can also ask ChatGPT to help you frame a concise, confident introduction, something like a 2-minute personal pitch that highlights your experience and why you're transitioning into this new field. Again, using ChatGPT and NotebookLM, one will give you information from your questions, and then one can actually help you craft more specific content based on the output from the other platform. So it's not either or, it's this and that. And this is something you play with, and you just go back and forth, have 2 screens open, one with ChatGPT and NotebookLM. They're both free. That's why we're talking about these today. But don't worry about trying to make the right path choice. Use them both, and you'll find your comfort zone. And the third part is how you can combine the power of ChatGPT and NotebookLM to play off each other and help you take it to that next level. So there's thousands of ways of doing this. The simple example I'm going to show you is just working with what we've already done with the demonstration so far. As we've seen before, it's given us these interview questions based on my simple prompt of yes, please create me an interview prep kit. At the end of all this, similar to NotebookLM, I can click on, I have some options. I like this response, I don't like this response. I can share this response. I can try it again until, you fine tune it without actually entering in a prompt at all. Or you just click on copy. So now I've copied all the text in just that one response. So from here down. So now I can jump back into networking profiles, networking with profiles in NotebookLM. And now you want to maybe recraft some of these questions and their structure based on the feedback that ChatGPT gave you and the framework that you might have really appreciated. So the way you would do that, it doesn't really let you have just dump everything in the text box. The way you would do that, you would add it as another source. It's a comparative process. That's what its strengths are. So you click on add. Well, we don't have a file. I mean, you could save it as a Word document. You could copy and paste it in a notepad or so forth. But there's a simple paste text box right here. So if I were to click on that and I paste what was on the other page and I click on insert, paste the text is now a source. So now it's going to start from the beginning, but add the information and insights from the new source. And here you go. You're going to get a bit more detailed information combining the output of ChatGPT with the comparative analysis that you're getting from NotebookLM. So this is where these two can shine. There's no silver bullet that's going to solve all the problems for your interview prep, and there's no one AI that's going to solve all the problems. But The example I'm showing right now where I've got two windows open at the same time and I'm moving back and forth, that's the best way I have found to use this. I'd love to hear your comments and any kind of questions you have or messages down below in this video to see how it's worked for you or struggles that you've had with it or any kind of feedback in general. I'd love to start a dialogue as to build a bit of a community here to get people sharing and giving their successes and sharing their struggles so we can help each other out. I will read every single one of them and I will get back to you and I will provide support wherever I can. That's why I have this channel, is to help folks like you who have questions like these with problems such as trying to start off or start over with career search, regardless of where you're at in your career. Other very simple prompts you could use would be something like, suggest insightful questions for my call with this individual based on their profile. Help me craft a 2-minute intro linking my past work to my new goals. Prepare answers to common networking questions based on this field or this company. It will do that research for you. This prep will help reduce nerves and make your networking conversations feel more natural and valuable for both sides. So to recap, when you're reaching out on LinkedIn and preparing for conversations, you can use NotebookLM to do your research and compare various sources and documents and find similarities or find gaps that you might need to address. And ChatGPT can help you draft authentic, engaging outreach messages. It's a combination of both of these tools that will help you prepare confident talking points and be prepared for questions and create some questions of your own. If you're over 40 and ready to pivot in your career, these tools can help you stand out with authenticity and professionalism. Give these tips a try and please let me know how it goes for you in the comments. If you want to help drafting your next message or have more questions on how to use the tools or want to prep for an upcoming conversations, please reach out. I'm here to support you every step of the way. That's why I do this channel. It's not just to talk to a little camera on my desktop, it's to help people like you watching today. And if this has been helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more career transition advice tailored for professionals over 40, or any age, honestly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.